While the arrival of the Seljuks to Iran brought many ups and downs with itself, there was also much progress. One of those achievements was the advent of a man named Hakim Omar Khayyam.
Hello. Welcome to Iran's History and Culture channel. We, in this channel, pay attention to the culture and history of Iran. Also, we talk about some points that you might not know about Iran. Therefore, expect to learn a lot. If you would like, you can subscribe our channel and press the bell button to become aware about new videos that we upload. Hope that you enjoy. Khayyam was born in the year 1048 CE in Nishapur. According to historians, his father's occupation was tent sewing. If one pays attention to Khayyam's tomb, one can observe symbolic references to tent sewing, perhaps in remembrance of his father. Khayyam was born at the same time as the emergence of the Seljuk dynasty in Iran. The Seljuks entered Iran from the east of present-day Uzbekistan. They attacked the governors of Iran, leading to their victory and the seizing of power. Malik Shah, the Seljuk king of the time, was an enlightened and progressive king, and his reign allowed for Persian culture and literature to prosper greatly. His court vizier was a man named Nizam al-Mulk. Both Nizam al-Mulk and Malik Shah were tremendously passionate about science, art, and culture. They announced Nishapur as their capital city. The king ordered schools to open all over Iran to educate people in the arts and sciences. Due to Nizam al-Mulk's prominent role in the opening of these schools, they were named Nizamiyas. Khayyam, also, was a student in these schools. He was a curious child and was interested in philosophy, mathematics, and literature. He carried this passion for learning with him till the last day of his life. Khayyam was instructed in the basic sciences by a teacher called Imam Muwaffaq Nishaburi. Later in the year 1070 CE, he goes to Samarkand to study mathematics and algebra under the patronage of Abu Tahir Obad, the chief judge of Samarkand. While still very young, he became known for his mastery of algebra and his intelligence. Even Malik Shah heard of this prodigy. Since Malik Shah regarded the scientists and intellects of his time very highly, and was after the intellectual progress of the country, he invited Khayyam to the king's court. Khayyam entered the service of Malik Shah, and since he was a very socially pleasant man, everybody enjoyed his companion. He made good relationships there, and everybody admired his intelligence. At that time the Seljuks were using the Islamic lunar calendar, and eventually, they had felt its shortcomings. The calendar was not precise enough and was affecting their calculations. So they commissioned Khayyam to design a new calendar for them. Their miscalculations were mostly affecting business and trade. Farmers and merchants had difficulties with the dates concerning harvesting and selling crops. More importantly, tax collection was affected. Part of the wealth of the Seljuk dynasty came from the tax paid by the farmers and merchants. The faulty calendar could lead to the confusion of the tax collectors. Khayyam begins to design the most accurate calendar to date. He opens an astrological observatory in Isfahan under the Shah's orders, and gathers a team of scientists to work with. Khayyam and his team go there to observe the celestial bodies and carry out their calculations. They do research non-stop for many days and nights, and after a while, Khayyam concludes that most distant stars are usually static, while nearby objects, like the moon, the sun, or closer stars, are constantly moving in their orbit. Eventually, he starts calculating the formulas on paper. Khayyam had realized that the sun's relation to the stars changes on an elliptic orbit from the point of view of an observer on Earth. This orbit is completed by the end of 1 year. The astrologers chose certain stars as points of reference when observing the sun's movement. The 12 zodiac signs which are in this route and also create certain shapes in the sky, became their points of reference. During the year, Astrologers monitored the sun's movement and calculated the time it takes for it to move from one constellation to another. Thus they managed to divide the year into 12 months. Based on these observations and measurements, Khayyam could predict the exact moment of the completion of the sun's orbit. Therefore Nowruz, the spring equinox, and the beginning of the Persian New Year, were placed between the two signs of Aries and Pisces. Khayyam could reach 12 decimals of accuracy while calculating the length of a year. Khayyam designed the most accurate calendar ever invented. Even when the Gregorian calendar was invented in the West 500 years later, it still had many weaknesses compared to Khayyam's calendar. Khayyam was inspired by the ancient Greeks in using stars as points of reference. He also used an astrolabe, which was the most scientifically complex instrument of his time. Many people see modern computers as a direct evolution of the astrolabe. He named his calendar the Halali calendar after Malik Shah's first name. The invention of the calendar led to the rising of Khayyam's position in the king's court. In the Seljuk court, there were many scientists, but Khayyam had a unique and respectful position. His findings were important for all of humanity. Later he also categorized linear, square, and cubic equations and was the first mathematician to give solutions to all of them employing geometric drawings using the properties of conic sections. But, apart from his scientific findings, what made Khayyam known internationally was his short poems written in the form of rubaiyats or quatrains. In his poems, he unveils a new philosophy of life. They are translated all over the world, and they are even more influential in the West than in Iran itself. The man responsible for their international popularity is Edward Fitzgerald, the British author and translator. In the beginning, these poems would hardly sell, leading to a significant decrease in their price by the publishers. In the end, the books were popularized by an editor called Whitley Stokes, who was extremely touched by these poems and bought many copies and distributed them within his social circle. Khayyam returns to Nishapur after years of doing research in Isfahan and leads a solitary life until his death in 1131 CE. His mausoleum is a frequently visited site in Nishapur in present-day Iran. One of his most important books is Nowruz Name, which is about the genesis of the Nowruz rituals in the Sassanid era. His other most important books are his collection of rubaiyats and a book called Risala fil Bararin, written in Arabic and translated into Farsi under the name Job of Merkabil. In this book, he writes about Euclidean geometry and poses and solves problems. His poetry is an entirely different world. A world that can be dark and optimistic, terrifying and beautiful at the same time. Khayyam's life is divided into two parts: his inner feelings, and poetry, and his outer observations and science. Depending on which lens we see his life through, we will have a different view of his character. If you enjoyed this video, do not forget to like it, and share it with your friends. Do not hesitate to provide your view regarding this video by putting your comments below. Your comments would help us to improve our work, and also, they help us to take your views into account for the future topics that we select. Furthermore, you can subscribe to our channel to become aware of our new videos.